Hello, my name is Natalie Turvey and I am Director and Principal Psychologist at Drop of Life Psychology Clinic, plus the author of Unbreakable Relationships for Self, Lovers and Others. And I'm doing just some information around mindset. It's a bit of a buzzword, like I've mentioned before in some of my videos, but this one I'm going to talk about is ownership. So most people will think about ownership as is the acquiring of material objects. But in psychology and in the book and in the programs that I run, we talk about ownership is actually about yourself, and it's about what you personally have control of. And it is quite an amazing thing when you actually truly have ownership of what you have control of. Life runs smoother. It just does. Because often we will try and control things that are simply not ours to control, and it causes us a great deal of grief. So ownership in and of itself is the ability to control what you have control of. And all you have, and myself and anyone else has control of, is what we think, what happens up here, what we say, what we actually physically bring out of our mouth and talk to people about, what we do, what we actually physically get up and do, how we feel. And that is it. What we say, what we think, how we feel, and what we do. That is it. That is all we have control of. Now, just to be clear, just because I'm a psychologist doesn't mean I get it right all the time. I simply do not. I am a work in motion just like everybody else. And for many years, I literally thought that I had control of other people. I thought that if I screamed louder, knew more, jumped up and down, pouted, sulked, whatever it might be, that people would change their behavior and I would get what I wanted. But it doesn't last long term. It might last for just that short period of time, but long term it does not last because people go back to their ways of behaving, and so do we. So it is really important to think about ownership because relationships just run better and smoother when everyone takes ownership of their stuff in a relationship. So how do you get control of what you have control of? Well, the very first thing that has to happen is you have to first understand why it's important. So in my book, I talk a lot about why it's important to have ownership, and like I mentioned before, why it's going to help your relationships. And it helps because it allows you to be the best person that you know how to be in a relationship, because you're owning your information, you're owning what you say, you're owning how you feel, and you're owning what you do, and you're taking 100% control of that. So for example, in a relationship, when you get angry and swear, that might be very out of character for you. And so owning, going, look, sorry, I shouldn't have yelled at you because that is out of character for me, helps soften that relationship and allows you to be able to talk a bit differently while you're in that relationship. And it doesn't have to be intimate. It can be work colleagues, it can be family members, it doesn't really matter who it is, because it allows you to take control of what you have control of, which is how you are and behave within a relationship. And that is naturally going to strengthen it. So the ability to be able to slow down and understand what you're feeling and why you're responding like that is really important. And I talk a little bit about belief systems in other videos, but it starts having ownership starts to allow you the capacity to have happiness because you are in charge, not somebody else. You are not walking to the beat of anyone else's drum because you're acting out of what's important for you. A really good quote from Louis Champagne is, "A secret to happiness is letting every situation be what it is instead of what you think it should be, and then making the best of it." I think that just really encapsulates what it is I'm talking about. It is what it is. People are what they are and they do what they do. Doesn't mean we tolerate it, doesn't mean we like it, doesn't mean we actually have to accept it and perhaps even be around it. But it does mean that it is what it is, and I can control my position and my behaviour in it, but nobody else's. So remember, today and tomorrow, to be kinder to yourself than anybody else can be.